In this lesson, I will tell you about Panorama. What is Panorama? Panorama is Palo Alto's central management platform. If there are tens of hundreds of thousands of firewalls in our network, it may be difficult to manage them one by one, so we can manage them centrally through Panorama. You can see the basic deployment here. We register our firewalls to our Panorama device and manage the firewalls through this device. Now let's go to our firewalls and add Panorama's IP. Then go to Panorama side and see what we can do by adding our firewalls. Now I came to our firewall in Istanbul. We come to Setup under the Device tab. We click on Management from Setup. Here we write the IP of Panorama server in Panorama setting. Let's set it from here. The IP of our Panorama server is 192.168.10.222. I say OK. Now I wrote the IP address here, since there is high availability between our two firewalls. The change I make here will automatically go to our second firewall. Let's upload our settings to our firewall by making commit. We have successfully loaded our settings. Let's check our second firewall by clicking close. Let's refresh here. As you can see, the IP address also came here because we have a high availability configuration between our two firewalls. That's all we'll do on the firewall side. Now we will go to Panorama side and add these firewalls. I'm on the Panorama side. When we come to the Panorama side, let's click on the Panorama tab here. When we click on the Panorama tab, we will add our devices by clicking Add under Summary from Manage Device. We need the serial numbers of our devices. Let's get the serial numbers of our devices immediately. In our first firewall, I come to the dashboard, where I copy the serial number and go to Panorama and paste it. Now let's go to our second device. Let's get the serial number on this device. I'm pasting this here as well. When we say OK, our devices are added. Let's send the changes we made on the Panorama side by committing. When we say commit to Panorama here, we send the changes we made on Panorama to Panorama. When we add our devices, it sends the changes we made to the device. When we say push the device, when we say commit and push, it sends the changes to both Panorama and devices. I'm doing commit Panorama now. Let's close our window. Our devices will be active soon. Let me refresh from here. Since our devices have high availability, you can see that both of our devices are connected here. You can also see the serial numbers and IP addresses of our devices here. You can see that our first device is active and our second device is passive. From here we can group our devices from the device group. Let's group our devices by clicking Add. Let's write the name and select our devices here. When you select Group High Availability from here, it will show devices in one form here. Let's choose Group High Availability from here and let our devices appear in a single way. In the Master Device section, you can make one of your devices master. Since our first device is active, let's make it master. Let's say OK. Let's send the changes we made to Panorama. After adding the devices, here are the Policy and Object tabs. You cannot see these tabs without adding any devices. Now we can create object and policies for our devices under the Policy and Object tab. Our settings have been loaded successfully. Let's close our window and go under the Policy tab. When we come to the Policy tab, we can choose our devices here. Palo Alto VM1, Palo Alto VM2. Here we can select the device groups. For example, when I select the Istanbul Firewall group and type a post rule here, this rule will be sent to both of our devices in the Istanbul Firewall group. This rule comes to the end of the rules. If you write pre-rules here, it will come to the top of the rules. Let's create a post rule for one test. I say add. Let it be called test post rule. I leave the rule type in universal. I am making source, destination, and application any. Let the service stay in application default and I make the action part allow. After making the log settings, here I select our firewalls in the target section. I say OK. Let's commit the changes we made. If we choose commit Panorama, it will only send to Panorama, not to devices. If we push, it will send it to devices, not Panorama. If we do commit and push, it will send to both Panorama and devices. I say commit and push. Let's close our window and go to our Istanbul firewall and check whether the rule has come or not. After waiting for a while, you can see that the rule we wrote comes here. Since we created a post rule, The rule came to the bottom. Now let's move on to the Panorama side. When we come to the Panorama side, device group Istanbul is selected, and when we make Pro rule here, you can see the rules in the firewall here. Now I'm deleting this test rule we made again and I'm doing commit and push. Our settings have been sent successfully. In the example we just did, we created a rule on our Panorama device and sent it to our firewalls. If you want, you can choose the device you want to manage from here. For example, let's choose our first firewall here. When we choose our first firewall, we connect to our firewall and we can make changes on that firewall. Now let's connect to our first firewall. Let's write a rule to this device via Panorama. We connected to our firewall in Istanbul via Panorama, where we can write any rule we want. For example, let's write a rule under the Facebook rule. I say add. I'm typing IT user allow in its name. Let's choose the rule type interzone. Let's choose source inside and source users IT group. Our source address is 172.16.0.0. Let's make our destination any. Let's choose any in application. Let's come to the action part. Let's get action allow and let's set the log. Let's say OK. Now let's apply the rule we created here by making commit. When we make a change in the first firewall, the same change goes to our second firewall automatically because we have a high availability connection. Let's close our window and connect to our second firewall. When we connect to the second firewall, you can see that the rule comes here as well. Let's delete the rule we created on the second firewall. Now let's commit our settings again. Let's close our window and connect to the interface of our Panorama device again. Here I choose Panorama. Now, when we come to the Panorama side again, you can create the rules from here and send them to the firewall group, or you can manage your devices by selecting the device you want to manage here and connecting to that device. With Panorama, you can manage tens of hundreds of thousands of devices in your network through a single device. That's all we will tell you in this lesson. See you in our next lesson. Bye.